Okay, so just to summarize where we are, we looked at Surah 1094, which says, if you, O Prophet, are in doubt about these stories that we have revealed to you, then ask those who read the scripture before you. The truth has certainly come to you from your Lord, so do not be one of those who doubt. Now, when we look at the stories, we know this is reference to the stories of the old prophets. Um, and we can just see that by simply scrolling up. So here's 1094. And if we just scroll up a little bit, we can see we have Noah and his people, messengers after Noah, Moses and Aaron, some more Moses, a little bit more Moses, the Pharaoh, and so on and so forth. And then we get to 1094. And then we looked at Surah 12, 111, which says, in their stories, there is truly a lesson for people of reason. This message cannot be a fabrication. Rather, it is a confirmation of previous revelation, a detailed explanation of all things, a guide and a mercy for people of faith. So again, this is talking about the stories. It says that the stories of the old prophets that are recited in the Quran confirms the story of the old prophets that we see in the Torah, and it's a detailed explanation of all things. Okay, and we can even look at an early tafsir. So this is a tafsir by Ibn Kathir, and it says here, this ayat states, these ayats, verses of Allah that we have narrated for you in truth, conforms to the exact manner that these stories have occurred. Exact manner that these stories have occurred, and to the truth that still remains in the divine books that the scholars of the children of Israel have and know. Okay. Now we've gone through just one old prophet. We've gone through Joseph, and we've looked at the narrative of Joseph from perspective of Quran and from perspective of Torah, which is Surah 12, verse 4 to 20, and it's Genesis 37. And just by that narration alone, we've seen many, many, many differences. So they haven't been conformed, where it says, we have narrated for you in truth and conformed to the exact manner. They haven't been exact. And if we want to be charitable, fine, they don't need to be word for word. But when we look at these differences, a lot of these differences are so significant that they contradict. We've seen, for example, in Quran perspective, Joseph is a young boy, possibly 5, 6 years of age. In Torah perspective, he is a teenager of 17 years of age. In fact, we'll look at a few more examples, but I want to show you this because even today, there are people who still maintain that these stories are exact or similar. So this is Dr. Yasir Qadi, and have a listen to what he says.
When the Prophet ﷺ is asked about the story of Joseph, and the Quranic story is so similar to the narrative to this day in the Old Testament that it is amazing. It is.
So he says the story of Joseph, which we've gone through, are so similar to this day in the Old Testament. So that's the Torah that we've been reading from today. That it's amazing. But you've read both accounts. You've read the Torah perspective and the Quran perspective, and they are not similar at all. In fact, they're probably similar in the fact that they have the same actors and actresses and same backgrounds, but the movie script is completely different, right? We've seen again that Joseph is a young boy versus Joseph is a teenager. We've seen that Jacob, the father, believes that Joseph is dead in one account, but believes he's alive in another account. We've seen that Potiphar blames his wife and forgives Joseph, whereas in the other account, we've seen that Potiphar listens to his wife and blames Joseph and puts him to prison. We've seen that the plot to kill Joseph happened in very far away over several days, whereas in the other version, it's the same evening and in the hometown. We've just seen way too many of these differences, way too many of these significant differences when side by side they contradict one another, that we cannot possibly say these are the same. In fact, we cannot say that the Torah and the Quran has the same author. It cannot be the same author because of these contradictions. They cannot both be the word of Allah. So, yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to sort of summarize with. And then we'll look at probably a little bit more details of a different narrative. But yeah, let me know what your thoughts and comments are, and we can discuss those. Thanks.
Amazing how this person in the